What's going on, people? I'm Swever, and again, we have another one for you today. I'm here with Journey to Be Great, E. Taylor Photography, and Coco Love. As always, these are my good people. So today we're going to be talking about Tesla, Miles Bridges, and Jasmine. What is the lady name here? Jasmine what? Jasmine Brown?
Brown.
Jasmine Brown, yeah. Yeah, Jasmine Brown, Miles Bridges, and Tesla. So we're going to go, I guess we'll start with Miles Bridges. Who got you?
So if you don't know who Miles Bridges is, he is a NBA star for the Charlotte Hornets. It's been reported that he turned himself in police custody on felony charges of domestic violence against his wife, Michelle Johnson. It was about a day after she posted like some images or some pictures of injuries all over her body, which kind of included a fractured nose and wrist on social media. The reason people know that he did it was actually a video that came out. His kid called 911 saying, "Oh, mommy and daddy, they're arguing, and oh, daddy hit her," and. But the reason why it stuck with me is because you kind of always hear about with athletes they're just getting into these domestic disputes with women, and I was just curious, why is it so hard for the guys to walk away from it? I think it's more of an ego thing. That's just my opinion. Anytime you're arguing, when you want to be right and everything, and you just can't accept when you're wrong in the situation. A lot of times that's how they're lashing out. But what do you guys think?
To me, I think with a lot of situations like that, that may stem from childhood trauma, like something they may have witnessed or went through when they were children. And
That's true.
unfortunately, their child is seeing that now. And, it's just like somebody has to break the cycle.
I was doing some more looking into that a little bit further. And I think that's kind of crazy. They said that he choked his wife until she passed out, broke her nose, and gave her a concussion. I was like, man, this guy was like serious. I'm not sure what the argument was about, but it must have been pretty bad. And then, like you said, it might have been something that had been going on much longer than we know about. And the reason why she just finally went ahead and just kind of like put it out there, I think it was Friday when she started posting those pictures that you talked about. I think she did that because she said she just couldn't take it no more. She didn't want nobody else to go through what she had gone through. And also, I also found that he had actually been fined $50,000 for striking a fan with a mouthpiece.
Yeah, I think that kind of sounds like he's basically just not used to. No one taught him how to basically like control his emotions and like express them in another way, non-physical. And again, it might, I guess, it could be something that he saw growing up or whatever, but it's not okay just because you saw it growing up. If anything, you should see, if you did see it growing up, that you should see how it, made you feel as a child, or whatever. And how, it made your mom feel. You shouldn't want to make another woman feel the way in which you saw these things happening. I don't really get that, but some people I think can't necessarily, they don't see that, I guess. So that's sad.
I think that it should be some type of thing going on like in high school or like in college where you take classes on that.
I agree 1,000%.
Yeah. And also, and not just like all relationships, like friendships too. And I think that probably would cut down on bullying, all kinds of things. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Jasmine Brown. She's also known as Watch Jazzy on Instagram. She's a comedian, and I follow her. I've been following her for a while. I think she's really funny. Well, she most recently was on a podcast called Lovers and Friends. It's called the Lovers and Friends podcast, actually. And she was just talking about her current relationship. Now, again, I follow her. I didn't, she's not very public, or at least I didn't think she was. So I don't know where I've been. But she's not very public with her relationship. This is the first time I've heard her saying anything about it. Basically, she was talking about what some would say is being submissive to her man. Other people have been saying that it's enabling, and that's kind of what caught my attention. So basically, to kind of sum up what she said on the podcast, she was talking about, pretty much being her man's piece, which I think is great. But she was kind of saying, like, she was like, you need to, or she's saying that she kind of reads his mind and knows like what he wants, right? And she was saying, anything that she can do for him, unpacking his bag, packing his bag. She said she just kind of knows him. She studies him. And she mentioned how, every night she scratches his back until he falls asleep. And the way in which she knows that he's asleep is because of the change in his breathing and, just different things like that. And she was saying that her love or her superpower is basically the way that she loves. And she said that a lot of people say that she's enabling him, kind of describes him as being spoiled rotten, pretty much. She's like, he's spoiled, blah, blah, blah. Now, where people start to have something to say, where what I've seen, especially on Twitter, is that she didn't say that he does the same thing for her. And that's where people are starting to come in and say, making jokes and stuff like that. Just today, I saw, because I couldn't understand why everybody, people always got something to say, about how you do things in your life. So, I didn't know what the big deal was or whatever, but just today I saw that someone said, I hope she's resting. And it was just joking because of all the things she said that she does for her man, right? And someone said Cam won't let her. And that's why I said, say what now? So it turns out that she is rumored to be dating Cam Newton, who we have spoken about on our show before as well. And so they are rumored to be dating, been dating for a while now. So now it kind of puts things into perspective for me, at least, that I can kind of see now why people have so much to say. And so, yeah, it does. Just again, going back to what we know about Cam Newton and some of the comments that he's made, especially when we talked about him on our show, where he had made the comments about, you don't know how to be quiet, you don't know how to cook, this, that, and the third. So it's like, oh, okay. So what do y'all think? If I don't know if y'all knew this or not, but now when you put those two things together, what do you think?
Well, I just recently found out myself that they were dating. And I mean, I don't see anything wrong with if that's what she chooses to do. Because, everybody has their own love language. And if that's hers, then so be it. Like, I don't understand why people would be so upset about it. Because, I mean, me personally, like, one of my love languages, I like to serve. And I've been talked about as far as, like, even if I'm in a relationship, but even with my kids, like, I still fix my kids' plate. I mean, and like I said, I've heard things about that, but that's what I choose to do. I don't feel like because I'm a woman, I have to. That's just like, that's my love language, serving. So if that's what she wants to do, I mean, if that works for them, I don't see anything wrong with it.
Well, I gotta go ahead and say this right now. I think we should start a GoFundMe account or some type of funding for this woman to start some sort of school or some sort of informational program. She can help a lot of the women to maybe see her point of view, because I think this could be great for the male community. Now, I'm not saying for the sorry, broke down, sleeping under the bridge type of men. I am talking about the ones that are out here trying to make a living and actually take care of their ladies. Because I think in today's world, I hate it though. Like, even just listening to what you were saying, because this woman wants to be everything to her man, and she wants to take care of her man, and she wants him to feel good. And I mean, it's always a problem. It's always a problem. Just like this thing that we was talking about before about the guy coming up and bringing the food to his child, and not, it's always like an issue. It's not. It's like it's never enough that what a man can do. He's always got to do this, that, and the third, or better. But with a woman, when she wants to give back to that man and show that man some love, then now she got to dial it back. She got to, oh, you're doing too much and blah, 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 blah. That lady, if that man is happy and that man is taking care of her, why shouldn't she do everything she can to make sure that man is happy?
I agree 100%. And my problem with it is this: why is it every time you'll hear something like this? Why are they just assuming that he doesn't do the same for her, or he doesn't do certain things for her? Like, you can't assume that. You don't know their relationship. And if the roles were reversed, if it was a guy that was coming out and saying, "Oh yeah, I make sure my lady come home. I run a bath for her. I rub her feet. And everything like that. And I pack a bath or this, that, and third or whatever." They'll be, it's some, not all women, but some women, they'll be like, "Oh, he's king. He supposed to do all that and everything like that."
Yeah, my brother preach, my brother preach.
Right. It's a double. It's definitely a double. It's a double standard, and it just seems like you have some women out here now that they want all the perks, but then they don't want to give. They don't want to sacrifice. They don't want to treat you the way you should be treated. At the end of the day, that man is the provider. I mean, he's the one that's he's making the most money and everything like that. And no, money is not everything, but he is the provider. So just off that, I mean, clearly he's doing something. He has to be doing something right, because it's not like she's complaining about it and everything like that. She's praising him and everything. So evidently he has to be doing something right. So I just find that funny how every time it seems like when the male is benefiting or getting something, it's always got to be some type of way to where, oh, you shouldn't do this, or oh, you should be tearing them down, or oh, girl, it wouldn't be me. It's just it's crazy to me.
And look, it's one other thing I would add to this. I was on Instagram, I was scrolling, and I saw something I thought was kind of interesting. The quote on Instagram said that when a man makes money, the first thing some of them think about, the quality men think about, is I can finally take care of myself and my wife, or my future wife. And they were saying, but when a woman actually makes money, she starts thinking, well, I don't need a man no more now. So I just thought that was interesting.
You try so hard to be independent and stuff, and then you wind up being alone. You just want to be so independent. It don't even with guys. I mean, it don't matter how uh, independent you are. You need somebody with you at some point. You can't do everything by yourself. That's for men or women.
I agree with that 1,000%.
What you got, Corey?
Yeah, man, I'm switching it up a little bit here. I ain't talking about no relationships, but hey, we're gonna go into something else. So Tesla, let's talk about Tesla for a second. So Tesla has been sued for what I understand to be the second time for discrimination, harassment, and I guess racism going on at the workplace. So if y'all remember a little while ago, Owen Diaz, he was a black contractor. He worked on elevators. He's an elevator operator, and he sued Tesla because he was saying that they were doing some racial discrimination, where I guess he was working in an environment where people were, using the N word and just acting really racist towards him. So he actually won the case against Tesla, and they actually awarded him $137 million. But they came back and they dialed it back down to 15 million. Well, here we are a little bit later, and another 15 employees, or former employees of Tesla, have sued Tesla over the same thing, basically alleging that they have been harassed and that they had to go through racial discrimination at the job. And I just thought this was like kind of crazy, you know what I'm saying? And some of the harassment that he said, the 15 workers that recently sued said they had to go through, is that in that environment, they use the N-word a lot, and they use other types of racial behavior towards, I guess, people of color. So I thought this was kind of crazy. Like, it had me thinking, like, at first I was like, maybe this was a one-off situation with Owen Diaz. But now I'm thinking, well, what's really going on at the Tesla plant? It must be some real, like some real issues with racism there. So I wanted to ask you guys, like, have you ever experienced anything like that? And do you think that you've ever been in a situation where you could have sued and, your case be taken and then you could have won?
I haven't been in that particular type of situation. Being black in America, you do have instances where you can kind of see the writing on the wall sometimes, and a lot of times now, especially like with managers or, general managers, they kind of feel like they can kind of talk to you any type of way, but it's always, they don't go to that line to where you can go to HR and be like, oh, they're doing this and oh, they're doing that. They kind of do the underhanded things to where if you do complain about it, then it can be looked at as, oh, you're just complaining, or oh, you tripping, oh, you doing this, oh, you doing that, oh, what can you be doing better? What were you saying, Quest?
No, I was just saying I haven't been in that particular situation where it was like racism or anything. I don't think that I would fare well in that type of situation.
We know.
Yeah, not from the actual employer. I have not experienced any type of racism. I have experienced racism by, like, customers and everything. I'm sure everybody has like a customer service story. So thankfully, no, I haven't experienced that, because, I can imagine that is kind of difficult or whatever, especially like trying to go to HR for it or whatever, sometimes that wouldn't, help you at all either. It might, especially if you're in a situation where, you really need your job, and you don't want to lose it, but at the same time, you don't want to just sit up here and deal with, mistreatment.
Well, it's definitely apparent that their HR needs to upgrade their workplace environment training, obviously. But I've never at work, I've never experienced any type of racism. I have experienced it at Walmart when I was out shopping. And it was crazy because this came from a child. So I know it, was they hear it in their home. But it was a little girl, probably no more than like 4, maybe. But I was just walking down the aisle, minding my business, and the little girl was like, "Look, mommy, niggers." And I
Oh
was
my
just
God.
so shocked because at the time I was with my kid's father, and I was like, "Did you hear that little girl?" And he was like, "What did she say?" And I told him, and I was just really outdone. But
Oh, sweet Lord.
That's
yeah,
crazy. That's crazy. I'm actually, you know what? I personally, I haven't dealt with anything like that before either. But sometimes maybe it's just like really hidden really well because I'm sure that you know a lot of people come to work feeling whatever way they feel, and you could tell because some of them, you know, they may not say nothing to you, but I can probably say I can attest to some racial behavior. I'll say
mm-hmm.
that maybe if they didn't even say anything, but I am looking forward to getting more information about this particular story because I just want to see how this one turns out. If Owen Diaz ended up getting $15 million from what he went through, I'm wondering what these other 15 former employees of Tesla are going to receive for what they're saying that they went through. And if they do find that these 15 people have gone through racism, then we have to look further and see how many other people have had to deal with racism at that particular company and deal with that accordingly.
All right, you guys, that's our show for today. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe, and also catch us on Google Podcasts, Spotify, and any other streaming service. Until next time, this is Opinionated Facts. Peace.